Hello, all of you elegant listeners and viewers, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team. We're back in studio after Mark found his keys from last time we recorded.
I haven't found my keys.
Never mind, Mark has not found his keys.
I've lost my keys for weeks now.
So you got the spare set of keys.
Yeah.
But we're back in studio. I'm Tyler Scheid, your host, joined by my fellow host, Markiplier himself.
Hello.
The man without keys.
I have one key.
The man with one key.
Ow, my knife. It's right here. Right
It's next to
my
his knife. Ta-da!
Key. Nothing else on it, though, because I can't find it. That's probably fine.
But Mark, it's been a little bit since we've seen each other, you know. Stuff's been happening in the world, you know, different things are happening. People have probably had some accuses against us. Where do you want to start with the stuff that you have?
Oh.
News, JQs.
Oh, I've got so much of both.
Well, I know the Lakers got knocked out of the playoffs in the first round.
Well, I don't know that. I haven't read my accuses.
And Golden State moved on after winning through the play-in and defeating Houston.
I didn't know that either. I haven't read the news yet. I just have it.
You just have it.
I have a summary.
Okay.
See, look, I don't read beforehand. I have it here, and then I read it
Here. That's when you know it's really fresh.
Oh, it's so fresh.
Right off the cuff.
Uh-huh.
Completely new to us and you at the same time. That's what news is about. It's supposed to be new.
That is what it's all about, which means that we need to cover it now.
Before it's not new.
Before it's not new. In horse racing.
There we go.
Horses, they're large animals with 4 legs, hooves, big peepees.
Hairy tail.
Hairy tails.
Big snouts.
Huge snouts.
They sometimes bite.
They bite a lot, actually. Usually they bite. Not people, but they bite in general.
They can bite people.
They're fast, meant for riding, and in recent events, the Kentucky Derby.
Yes.
Ended with a Triple Crown bid. Now, here's the thing. Amy's family always picks horses.
Yeah.
Kentucky Bird Derby. It's like a thing, and they put $25 on. I forget what it is. Not much. I've never won.
Just a little bit of a bet on a horse.
Yeah. I've never won.
Mm-hmm.
Never in this entire time. And the thing is, the reason I've never won is because I have picked the winner. I have picked the winner as my first choice multiple times. But every time I pick it, that horse has been taken by someone else. And it's a tradition that you can't pick the same horse.
Same horse.
But I have literally picked the winner out of random. I don't know the horses. I don't know anything. But I've picked the winner more than once.
More than, you were like 3, 2, more than once.
I think it was twice, but I think it was probably twice. I think twice I've actually picked the winner and have not been able to bet on the winner because I'm not going to go out of my way and actually go and bet because that's stupid.
So I have an updating news.
What?
They are skipping the Preakness and therefore cannot win the Triple Crown. It is being thwarted because they are not racing in the Preakness.
What the fuck is the Preakness?
That's the third race. That's the final race of the Triple Crown.
Oh, Kentucky Derby winner ends Triple Crown bid.
Yes. Sovereignty.
I should have read the actual. Yeah. In thoroughbred racing, Sovereignty won the 149th Kentucky Derby, but the victory was followed by an unexpected decision. The Colts ownership announced that Sovereignty will not run in the upcoming Preakness Stakes, skipping the third.
Does it start with I think it does start with the Derby, so that would be the second.
Okay. So skipping the second leg of the Triple Crown, I don't know what the third is.
So, I mean, if anyone wins the Kentucky Derby, they obviously have a shot at the Triple Crown because it's the first one. I assume the Preakness is the second one. Yeah, it's Kentucky Derby, then 2 weeks later is the Preakness, then 3 weeks after that is Belmont. Belmont's the final, that's right.
There you have it.
So they're skipping the Preakness.
But honestly, I didn't even know about those other ones. So winning the Kentucky Derby is probably plenty enough. Usually the winner, the horse gets to live from that moment on a life of luxury. They get to breed with all the female horses people will pay through the nose to get that horse to breed with all their horses. That's it. That's what it's called. Stud rights.
Did you know that one of the most famous horses in horse racing has ties to almost every horse that enters like the Kentucky Derby over the last decade?
I would believe it, yeah.
Secretariat. There's a bloodline that almost all of the bloodlines lead back to Secretariat.
Now, here's a funny thing, because that makes me think of something I heard recently, which is that the record for the fastest horse was set in 1972.
Oh yeah, the debate for the Kentucky Derby, because the clock failed when Secretariat ran the Derby. People argue that it beat the time, but there's no evidence of it because the clock failed when Secretariat ran.
Gotcha. Okay, so maybe I'm not right. I could have sworn I saw something saying that there's a record for horse racing that was set in 1972 and has not been beaten for a while, but apparently it was broken in 2008 with a mare. Oh, a female horse with a speed of...
It's possible that it wasn't at the Derby, but Secretariat won the Derby with a time of 1.596, 1 minute 59 seconds and 2/5, and was ahead by 2.5 lengths. 1973.
There, yeah. I wonder, because those records do stand for a very long time, if the obsession to be like, that winner, breed with everybody, is actually not good for pushing the gene pool forward in terms of speed and performance, because then it kind of inherently limits the gene pool.
Because it's all the same horse.
Yeah.
Well, there's already a limit in that they have to be thoroughbreds and a whole bunch of other stuff.
What does that even mean?
It means that you have to kind of have a bloodline, like it's pure blood versus like
Not
a
those
Mustang.
mudbloods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into horse racing there's a lot of politics in horse racing. There's a lot of politics in a lot of sports, but which, by the way, is why we talk about politics sometimes, because sports are involved in politics. There's a lot of different like uppityness to horse racing that you can't have a certain horse enter unless you have some sort of lineage and proof of lineage, and there's a lot of stuff with that. It's why like you don't see Mustangs or Mustang blood generally in horse racing.
Those filthy must bloods.
Those Philly Mustangs. They're like the
must bloods.
Must bloods.
Must bloods.
Must bloods.
Like mud bloods.
It's like dust, but with an M.
Mustang.
Yeah.
Must bloods.
For those of you that don't know, Mustangs are wild horses, as many people would consider them. Like we call wild cats, feral cats, like I guess feral horses. They very much don't really exist and roam free across the U.S. anymore.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Okay. All right. Jumping over.
Yes.
To a JQ's. I find this one funny. Many people might not. But I find it funny. From Simbonita. I'm tired of people only singling out Christianity when it comes to separation of church and state, yet leaving out the other pagan religions and their traditions that are widely adopted by the state. You and I both know this isn't about traditions. You and I both know that this is about laws. And that's the thing that matters. And you've skirted around it in this entire post. And that's the problem. When you start making laws in accordance with one religion over another, and there's only one right now that is pushing its way into governments, that's a problem, and that's fucking Christianity.
The best part about you replying to this on the podcast is I replied angrily already to that one.
Oh, did you? Oh, here you are. Oh, there you are.
Calling them out, being like, they're not being singled out because of it being one religion that's being singled out. It's because it's the one that's pushing
it's
to
the
do
one
the
that's
thing.
pushing it, and that's also not the same thing as saying all Christians are trying to do this either.
Correct.
But you better fucking believe there's a huge segment of Christian nationalists that are trying to make it their job to establish laws in accordance with their beliefs. And when you start doing that over what's good for the freedom of the people, and freedom of religion is part of that. Hence, freedom of religion actually is such a core part. That's why we have so many traditions that are from different religions.
Well, and on top of that, if you think back to even before America was discovered by European explorers and why they came over here, it literally was to escape religious persecution, to have religious freedom. It was like Protestants and a few other things that came over to escape that.
There were many different reasons why people came over, and it wasn't all just pilgrims. There are many different parts of America that came over
and
at the
different
same time.
parts of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's a big mixture of a whole bunch of different things, and that's why you can't have laws that are in accordance with one, not accounting for the multitude of different people that have their beliefs and stuff like that. So it's not about it's not about the Easter eggs. It's not about that.
There also was a comment on the podcast on Spotify that was like, yeah, other presidents have done worse. And I'm like, Yeah, they have like Trump about to do this giant parade that's a complete waste of money for his birthday.
Whatever. At that point, like I've said with many things like that, is like that is the least of the things that bother me.
Oh, it's the regulations and deregulation and the million of other things happening
it's just
in the
like,
world.
If I don't have the bandwidth to get upset about a parade, it's like whatever. Parade, schmarade, whatever.
Waste of money is one thing. The absolutely uprooting the foundational principles of what the Constitution stands for is another.
Yeah, well.
But anyway,
more in other news. Okay, thankfully it's not cricket, so I'm not going to not understand it. Okay, so someone said something about Formula One that I got wrong. I didn't even understand what they were saying. I got wrong.
They're talking about pole position or the maiden victory.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Anyway, Formula One, McLaren 1 and 2 at Miami GP extends surprise dominance, which 1 and 2 doesn't sound. Oh, 1 and 2 pole position.
Yeah, they finished finishing.
I see. The McLaren Formula One team continued its red hot start to the 2025 season with a commanding 1-2 finish at the Miami Grand Prix. Rookie sensation Oscar Piastri took the victory with teammate Lando Norris finishing second, marking McLaren's 5th win in the first 6 races. Piastri now leads the Drivers' Championship, and McLaren's sudden dominance has even rival bosses taking notice. Red Bull principal Christian Horner remarked that the team was, quote, in a league of their own after Miami. Horner hinted that McLaren's car may draw increased scrutiny, though he isn't alleging anything illegality, as the once midfield team has become the pace setter off the grid, which would be surprising considering if they were in the midfield and then suddenly 1-2 finish. That is interesting.
But that you said it's their 5th win in 6 races, so
of this year. So this year something's different.
Yeah. So I mean, there's always innovations happening to car. There's always going to be scrutiny, and once you start winning and the performance is showing as one thing, they're going to make sure that you're not doing anything illegal to try and level the playing field. There's a couple of different things that people have corrected me on in Formula One. For one, like pole position there's pole position for finish, podium position and pole position. I get them confused. I think pole position is where you start and podium is where you finish the race. But I guess pole position is also how you finish. What are you doing?
Don't go under.
Oh. You could. And so that's one of the things. The other thing is a lot of people talk about having a good driver is important, but the car is also one of the most determining things on who actually wins.
Yeah, because it's the thing that goes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's the thing that determines. I mean, yeah, skill of the driver, but at that
if
point,
all the cars were exactly the same, the driver would entirely be at that point.
Well,
but
we couldn't have that.
And you still can't even have perfect replications because mechanical fails and other things that'll occur throughout the race.
And that's why having the pit crew there is important, and you get your engineers and stuff. But I think it's like they should drive the shittiest, most rickety cars possible safely, but they should have these things that break down all the time because breakdowns are fun. What if while you're racing, you accumulate points and then you can spend them to sabotage your opponents?
It's like Death Race.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a really funny idea that one race the year, everyone gets handed a piece of crap car, all the same. Like all of them get like a Ford Fiesta from 2000s, and they have to like fix it up as best they can in a set amount of time, and then they race them.
Every race they should get their car beforehand. It's like, when you've got Top Chef or not Top Chef. Chef's Pyramid, Ultimate Chef, Chef Man, Chef Woman,
Chef Mania,
not Top Chef, Ultimate Chef Showdown. What's the thing? The chef, where they get the secret ingredient.
Top Chef?
Is it Top Chef? Is that it?
Is it Top Chef?
Top Chef. Is that one with the secret ingredient?
Or is it like Butcher Block or?
No, it was one of the OG original cooking competition with secret ingredient.
Chopped.
Iron Chef.
Iron Chef? Oh,
Chopped.
That's a different one.
Chopped. No, Iron Chef.
Iron Chef.
It's like Iron Chef, where they get their secret ingredient, they have to make it work. So like they get their card and their team goes, oh, Dios mío, I don't know how to do this. Spaghetti, I don't know how I'm going to make it this car. I'll go. And then they have to go.
And then you have the American team. Ah, damn. I don't know what to do with this shit.
Piddles. Dag nabbit.
Son of a biscuit-eating bulldog.
Mother humper. Anyway, I have so much more.
Well, we got to save some for the next episode, right?
Well, I mean, will it be topical?
There's always is.
Let me get one more in here. What's a big thing? Big thing happened. What happened? Ooh, big thing.
Is it the Reds player that broke his wrist and then they ruled it a non-catch? Did you see that?
No, what was that?
Let me pull this up.
Doesn't seem fair.
Yeah. I'll have you watch the video with no context and tell me if he caught the ball or not. Once I pull it up.
I'm ready.
So, do you think that was a catch or not a catch?
Let me see it again. Let me see without. Can you play it at half speed?
We can do 3/4.
He absolutely caught it, but what are the rules about dropping it after a catch?
So the rules are you have to
Because, like, there's no question. He caught that.
MLB, a legal catch requires a fielder to have complete control of the ball in their glove and to release the ball voluntarily after securing it. He literally did that.
Okay. In accordance with that rule, what you just said, voluntarily is the key, right?
It looked to me like he let go of it voluntarily at the end.
His wrist's broken. There's not much voluntarily going on there. Now, if I was the guy calling it that day, I would say, fucking, he broke his wrist. That counts. If you get hurt doing a play, all honor says that should count. He caught that. But if there's a stickler that's looking at the rule books and just is a fucking asshole, then I could see how that would be ruled not, because if we're all stepping outside of the human part of it and being like, clearly his wrist is broken, he didn't voluntarily let go of it because his wrist is broken, then you could be like a rule stickler about that. But that's a bad decision to make for the longevity and enjoyment of the game, because in an honorable way, even the other team should be like,
that's a catch.
He got it. Guy who hit the ball would be like, if I hit that ball and I saw that happen, and someone called it back, I'd be like, no, don't give me that run. Do not give me that. That's cursed.
So what ended up happening is I don't know exactly what the call on the field was, but it ended up being ruled a home run, an inside the park home run. They kept running the bases while everyone was focused on taking care of him. This is a rookie, by the way, and he absolutely snapped his wrist against the wall. And it's really unfortunate, these things happen in the game. Yeah. But my issue is I look at this catch.
Yeah.
And I've seen people catch the ball in the infield and immediately go to throw it. And to me, they never really had control. It was like a snap and then immediately to their hand. He had it in his glove a lot longer than some of those infielders had. And they ruled those a catch and then a throwing error. Yeah. And so that's where I have the issue. Regardless of what team it was, I wasn't watching this game live or anything. But seeing that happen and having played the game, that's a catch to me. He had control of it in his glove. He hit the wall, went to the ground.
Yeah.
And then it got released.
I think that whoever made this call should be fired. That's not even like me calling a mob. I think that if they made that call, they should not be making calls because they can't see the human element of it. And that's not me being pitchfork about it. That's me being like, I don't think a person who is going to make a call like that should be in charge of making calls, because anyone can see that, yes, it's like, sure, you could, even if you're like, yeah, it's arguable, it's debatable where it is. He broke his wrist. He made that catch. It's
also at that point, he can't make a play on the ball.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So it should be a dead ball at the very least, which would then rule it as a ground rule double, like it bounced over the wall.
Sure.
As opposed to giving them a home run. That's the other issue I have with it is like...
Let's look up who made this call. What's this game?
I think it was reviewed by New York, so it was umpires in New York officially did it. It was Reds.
Let's name them.
Reds manager challenged it. It was against the Braves. The umpire Chris Siegel ruled that Tyler Callahan's catch attempt was not a catch. That's it. The ruling was confirmed after a challenge by the Reds, meaning the ball was not ruled out, and Matt Olson's hit was an inside-the-park home run.
Mm-hmm.
The decision was based on the rule that a catch is not considered valid if the fielder collides with the wall or falls down and the ball comes loose as a result. So there apparently is a rule in relation to that.
In relation to what?
If a player collides with the wall or falls down in the process of the catch and then the ball comes loose as a result, rule 5.09a, it is then ruled a non-catch.
And it wouldn't even count because it didn't come out as a result of he had it after the collision with the wall.
Yeah.
So he collided
You could
with
even
the wall.
see from outside the glove the ball didn't move.
Yeah, if you go back to the video, it's he collided with the wall, had the ball. He hit the ground, had the ball. It flopped out after those 2 moments because his wrist is broken and he still held onto it through those motions. So it's like if you wanted to dissect the rules to the point where you have to make a call like this, you're not making the right call. And I get it. I'm not an umpire. He could look at this and he could dissect my life and be like, you haven't even played baseball a day in your life. I'm like, yeah, but I know what you should have called.
Yeah.
You should have called it, not that.
And I don't know for sure if it's his wrist or it's his arm because some headlines say arm, others say wrist. So I imagine it's broken in probably multiple spots.
And it's fine. It's fine to make a wrong call. Like I'm not saying like, okay, let's not fire him for that because people have made wrong calls before and they've regretted it a lot. There was a baseball umpire that we talked about before that made a really bad call and he regretted it. And he
it's the one who
it.
broke up the perfect game when he called somebody safe at first when it was he was not safe.
That's what it was. Really, really bad call, and people hated him for it, and he apologized for it because he was wrong. I think this guy should definitely apologize. This is not the right call to make. Just for the betterment of the sport, betterment of the fans, the enjoyment of the game. Doesn't matter about the score at that point. That guy. That should have been a catch.
And this comes after there was another incident that I saw where a player slid into third base and they hurt their shoulder and they were called safe and then they lifted their hand to call time because to signal to the umpire you do this to call time. And he was very clearly in obvious pain. And the rule is you can call time without raising your hand or signaling, you just say it out loud. And so he out of instinct raised his hand, which was on the base to call time. He got tagged again and they ruled him out and he had dislocated his shoulder in the process of sliding. So they ruled him out and the umpire was right there. And that's another call where I'm like, guys, there's a certain point where you need to realize what's more important here.
Yeah. If we're going to have human umpires, then they have to be there to be the human element of it. If a robot's like, he's off, red flag, and then tag is like, beep, boop, out. It's like, all right, great. Then what is the point of reviews? What is the point of reviews if not to be like, hey, look at the circumstances with which this occurred? It's absurd.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally why the jury of our peers was added to our judicial system. It's why the human element in commentary and everything exists throughout the process of
It's
sports.
why jury nullification is a thing.
Yep. Time to get into the topic of today. It's a lot more silly, a lot more happy, a lot more fun.
I'm having fun.
Mascots exist. It's a lot of teams have them because it's literally how they get their name in a lot of ways. It's like the Georgia Bulldogs, the Cincinnati Reds, which was based off of Red Stocking because they had Red Sox, which is a whole other thing because then that went to a minor league team and then the Boston Red Sox took it from the minor league team. So the Boston Red Sox indirectly stole it from the Cincinnati Reds. Besides the point, this happens all throughout. In a way, some people would say that Chica kind of has become a mascot of your channel. You had Tiny Box Tim at one time. Like
now dead, gone, crushed. I actually accidentally burned Tiny Box Tim for firewood. What? That's a joke. That's not true at all. Not maybe.
You don't know.
I do.
He does. Who won it?
Who wouldn't know?
I mean,
who wouldn't know? Who wouldn't burn Tiny Box Tim for firewood?
He's made of wood.
Yeah.
It's a starving situation. You need heat.
Well, I mean, I wasn't that cold, but it was like, I really wanted a fire.
So how do you think mascots came to being a part of sport?
I imagine it probably comes from medieval times when, your house has a banner and your banner sometimes has a mythical animal on it. And so that becomes representative of your house, and people probably know from Game of Thrones, you got the lions, you got the wolves, and you got the dragons.
The coat of arms.
Exactly. Yeah. So it probably comes something like that.
Okay. So we've talked about pretty much every aspect of sport, basics, how to play, sports stadiums that are haunted, but we haven't talked about yet, that's a huge part of sports, the mannequin's slightly less creepy cousins, sports team mascots. Now, this exists in sports and schools throughout the world, from elementary school sports up to international pro leagues. Almost every team has a mascot that represents the team in some capacity. Hypes up fans, steals your soul if you look into its eyes too long. Plenty of stories about mascots. Some of it, more recently, are used to have kids become more interested in the sport and have something to interact with. Now, there are thousands and thousands of sports team mascots all over the world, so we can't talk about them all. So we're just going to do a little brief preview on some of the weirdest and wildest mascots after we touch on where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
The word mascot itself comes from the French word mascot. It's literally just spelled differently. It's mascot, add a T and an E on the end. That term in French means lucky charm. Now, the word got its modern day spelling in the late 1880s when the New York Times wrote about a boy named Charlie Gallagher, who was said to have been born with teeth and is guaranteed to possess all the magic charms of a genuine mascot.
Babies aren't born with teeth. I just realized that.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that, but I was like, oh yeah, they aren't born with teeth.
So it kind of has a creepy origin. Having a baby born with teeth is kind of scary.
I'm not very comfortable about it. That's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was in the 1880s, also when sports mascots were starting to be popular.
1880s?
1880s.
How many sports teams were there to have mascots?
I mean, some of the earliest ones were like Yale, Harvard, like OG schools and sports.
Because the school itself would probably have a mascot. I see how that would spill over, yeah.
Correct.
Because those old schools did have coat of arms as well, and usually they would have, yeah.
Yep, and oftentimes people would have pets.
Is that what this dog is?
So the earliest animal sports mascot is thought to be Handsome Dan, as you see here.
Handsome
the
Dan.
bulldog mascot
Kind of
for
ugly
Yale.
for a Handsome Dan.
I don't know.
I'm a Harvard guy. I'm not in University of Cincinnati. We got a pig, a bearcat. I don't know.
Yeah, a bearcat.
I don't know.
We're going to talk about the Bearcats and how they came about, because that's one of the unusual mascots. But it wasn't until the 1960s that there was a shift to costume mascots that we have today. Some of the earliest being the Ohio State University's mascot, Brutus Buckeye, and Mr. Met of the New York Mets.
Mr. Met was just a big baseball, right?
Yes.
Which is very silly, if you think about it, for a mascot. Oh, your mascot's a baseball for your baseball team? Fucking boo.
Yeah, you think that one's a boo. Just wait until you see some of the other ones I got in this list.
All right, I'm ready.
Over the years, pretty much every team has had some sort of mascot, animal or monster in a fursuit. Except for Handsome Dan, which has always been a live bulldog, 19th of his name. So, to kick things off, let's take it back to Halloween in 1914, which was the first mention of the UC Bearcat was made. And a few days later, it was published in the campus newspaper following a football game between UC and the University of Kentucky Wildcats. The name was inspired by a cheer for a UC star player, Leonard K. Teddy Bear. Bear spelled B-A-E-H-R. During the game, the chant that was created was, "They may be Wildcats, but we have a bear cat on our side."
Did they say it like that? Because that would be less intimidating.
I don't know if they said it like that. I'm just.
You better watch out. I got a berry.
So this led to the name being used in a cartoon published in the student newspaper following their win. The cartoon was by John Patty Reese and depicted the Kentucky Wildcat being chased by a Cincinnati Bearcat.
Cincinnati, the mythical city of Cincinnati.
So they made this fictional creature that is a Bearcat.
Okay, this comic's very good. Obviously, I can't. I'm not too good at art. It's also very silly. Why is it saying help?
Because they lost. They're scared.
It doesn't feel very intimidating on either front of these. Anyway, I don't mean to critique.
It wasn't until 1922 that the first logo of the Bearcat appeared in an institutional logo. However, it was drawn to be a grizzly bear until after World War II, when it took its final form as the Bearcat we know today.
Wow. Look at those college students. What year is this?
I do not know when. Probably more recent.
Yeah, it seems more recent. They didn't have color photography when we were in college.
Yeah. It was all black and white.
I remember walking around campus being like, I can't wait for color to happen. Oh, man.
The college was too poor to update to digital when we were there.
Oh, man. I saw they got all the colors in after I dropped out, and I was like, I should have finished. Think if I go back, they'd take me. You think my credits still count? Did they change physics?
Well, it's now semesters instead of quarters, so.
Well, they changed that like right after I left. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Quarters.
Well, there was like a weird transition period. Were you in the weird transition period?
Maybe I was. Maybe that was like the last. I think that was the last year that I was there. They were transitioning to semesters.
Because I know it was incredibly frustrating from a professor and student level.
It really didn't. It really messed up a lot of things because this is why I get mad at other like engineering majors, because I had to take organic chemistry. I'm like, why did I have to take organic chemistry? It's fucking. Actually, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind being in the lab. It was nice working with my hands. You didn't have to take a full course of organic chemistry because that was for the chemical engineers, right?
Right.
They took the full, but we often took the same classes together. So we took 2/4 of it, where they had to take 3/4 of it per unit of 101, 2, and 3, and then 201, 2, and 3. So we took the 101 and 102, and then 201 and 202, and we didn't take the 3, which was really fucking annoying, because then when you go to 201, you're like, hey, I'm missing a block of not. Anyway,
yeah, because you're missing a whole set before you get to the 2.
So that was annoying enough by itself. I don't know how they changed it to go to semesters at all. I don't understand at all. And so
I think they consolidated, like, it's probably only 2. There's no 3 anymore.
Yeah. So UC was on the quarter system, and it shouldn't have been. For some reason, colleges are semesters, not quarters. I forget why. I don't know. I don't understand anything. I don't even remember what classes I really took. So I might be wrong about the 102 thing, but I know that there was a gap in my knowledge going into the next one. But I don't know if that was just because I took a sabbatical playing World of Warcraft and I missed out on some things versus any other time there. Because there was a time in there where I don't remember anything.
That's fair. That's fair. College feels like a whole different lifetime ago for me, at least.
Could always go back.
I already have a master's degree. I don't need it anymore.
There's more. There's higher education.
I know. I could be like PhD. Bob and get a Juris Doctor and work towards being a sports agent.
Could do that.
But instead, we're going to continue on with this episode of the podcast.
Okay.
The next one I'm going to bring up has had an air of controversy and hilarity in recent years, and that is the Chesapeake Bay Sox, formerly known as the Chesapeake Oyster Catchers. Just this year in late March. Do you know this one?
No, I think the name's funny.
Oh.
That's all I'm laughing at.
You know what an oyster catcher is, right?
I could guess, but I wouldn't be shocked if I was wrong.
Okay. It's a bird. So, just this year in late March, a minor league baseball team known as the Chesapeake Bay Sox announced an alternate name and mascot for their home games to honor the Chesapeake Bay. The mascot of a catcher's mitt with half an oyster shell and a baseball where the pearl would have caused some fans to clutch their pearls and the team to quickly remove it from social media.
So I'm laughing for the exact right reason.
Yeah,
I'm laughing for the exact right reasons. Didn't this happen again more recently? Or
this is more recently.
Oh, this is the reason.
They were the Chesapeake Bay Sox, and they wanted to do the Chesapeake Oyster Catchers.
There's no way. There is no way.
This got past people. I mean, there was a complete ad campaign that was like taking no out of your vocabulary. Do you remember when that happened?
I do remember that.
Yeah. So it gets past people. People are just either they pass it along without actually looking at it or what. But go ahead and describe it for the listeners out there that aren't going to see this, because it might also get blurred.
It is a elongated oyster with a undersized baseball that is like blurred out the actual stitching of it, so it's kind of muddy to begin with. So they're trying to straddle between a pearl, baseball, and a clitoris, because that's what it looks like. It looks like a vagina, full with labia, labia minora and majora.
Yep.
And there might even be a hint of a butthole and mons pubis.
Good use of anatomical terms.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
You want to know what the fundus is?
I already know what the fundus is.
He knows what the fundus is. This guy knows his fundus.
I do. I took anatomy and physiology. Like I said, my degree may have been focused in business, but I did a lot of stuff on the medical side.
Man, I had to take so many anatomy courses, and I don't remember anything.
I don't remember much.
The anatomy is like the surface level stuff, but the really annoying stuff is like all the actual biological processes stuff, like how nerve conduction, like cell membrane stuff, and like all those different chemicals and stuff like
Talking about like the calcium, potassium pumps.
All of those things, yeah. There's a reason.
Synapses.
There's a reason why biomedical engineering is also a path for pre-med. You can go to med school after you graduate biomedical engineering because you have taken enough for it. That's why I always say, like, no, everyone's always saying the other ones, but so few people take biomedical engineering. And I'm like, guys, biomedical engineering is so fucking hard. Why did I pick this? Why did I pick it?
Because I think it was because you liked physics and the mechanical side, but you also liked biology and the science and
chemistry. No, I wanted to go to med school. I actually did want to be. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I wouldn't have wanted now, knowing. But I was like, I was in engineering school already, in civil engineering. I was like, I don't know. I think I want to go to med school. It's like, how can I do that? Well, you could stay in engineering school, be a biomedical engineer. That's also a path. That's how I know it's a path. Oh God.
That's like Wade. He took philosophy because apparently that led to the highest scores on the LSAT for trying to get into law school.
I think the highest scores of the LSAT is just you study for the LSAT.
Yeah.
All the classes don't matter.
So anyway, as you can see by this mascot or temporary logo, a lot of people had outcry that it was not safe for work. Many others caused an uproar to bring it back because it was funny. The team ended up releasing a jersey with the mitt, which sold out nearly instantly.
Of course it would. Of course it would.
Also, the team also announced in celebration of Women's History Month that 10% of all oyster catchers merchandise sales would support cervivor. It's like cervical but survivor combined, which is a nonprofit dedicated to cervical cancer education.
Okay, so it's an intentional. It's not just this article being like, I'm going to make up a word now.
It's spelled Cervivor.
It's probably pronounced survivor.
Survivor, yeah. The next mascot we got is the Florence Yawls.
Oh,
this water tower?
I know this water tower. God, I know this water tower. Who doesn't know this water tower who lives in the Cincinnati
I feel
area?
like it's all over the world.
This is a mascot? How is this a mascot?
Just wait. While many teams have fantasy creatures, wildlife, baseball had mascots, Florence, Kentucky's mascot towers above them all, which makes sense because it's an actual water tower. The Florence Yawl Water Tower started out as the Florence Mall Water Tower, built in the early 1970s. It was built near the highway as a part of a mall project. But there was a problem. The Highway Beautification Act prohibited billboards along interstate highways, and the water tower with the mall's name qualified as being a billboard.
That's so funny.
So it would have been expensive to repaint the entire thing. So the mayor at the time, Hop Ewing, scribbled Florence Yawl on a napkin, and the rest became history.
Okay, this is so funny because no, it wouldn't be expensive to paint it. You paint the red, you paint the white, you paint the red, and then you're done. You get 3 buckets of paint, you're good.
Yep.
And a guy with a rope. You can
Instead, they're like, let's get rid of the M and make it a Y apostrophe.
Now, that being said, I am fully on board with the decision to change it to y'all. This is great. I'm 100% all about it. But also,
the local baseball team, originally known as the Florence Freedom, are now the Florence Yawls and introduced this water tower mascot in 2016.
Please tell me at the games there is a guy wearing a water tower. Oh, thank God. Oh, my God. Of course. Yeah, thank you. Jesus. Oh, man. Woo, that was a close one. I was worried.
It still says freedom on the front, but yep, the Florence Water Tower is in fact
I love that.
the mascot.
It's the best decision you can make. This is really, really, really up there with great decisions. And it looks good too.
It does.
Yeah.
Kind of, I would say it's better than the baseball head.
Honestly, way better.
Yeah.
Milford has a water tower, but it's big and blue. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's really an eyesore.
It is.
It is really an eyesore.
It's right by the high school too. Or are you talking
No,
about?
I'm talking about the other one.
The other one,
The one if
yeah.
you go down by where my house
Miami
was,
Trails, or
yeah, it's the big blue water tower in the middle of nowhere next to this guy whose farm he would never sell, which I'm fine, but it's just ugly.
Yeah.
But that one is nice.
And now we move on to a little bit creepier, a little bit weirder.
All right.
Next mascot, born in New Orleans, and has been terrifying fans and opposing teams alike since it's popped out of the womb. The Pelicans basketball team birthed what is called King Cake Baby mascot in 2009 as a seasonal mascot during Mardi Gras.
King fucking what? Oh! 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 Oh!
That's in the control room, by the way, for the broadcast.
Whoa!
Horrible.
Whose decision was this? And why are they still alive?
So what is King Cake Baby?
I don't care. I don't want to know. You're going to tell me, but I don't want to know.
King cake is a ring-shaped pastry associated with Mardi Gras that's like a cinnamon roll covered in yellow, green, and purple icing, sugar, and that is traditionally has a plastic baby baked into it. Though in recent years, bakeries have the baby packaged separately for safety because it can be a choking hazard.
Yeah.
I don't have any information on who came up with it, so I'm going to have to look it up.
I mean, I'm sure that this is a historical tradition and yada yada. This shouldn't be a mascot.
Well, this is the reason of the baby being a staple in bakeries was in 1940s when bakery owner Donald Entringer began placing the porcelain varieties in the cakes.
Uh-huh.
Created by Jonathan Berticelli, a Mardi Gras float and prop maker. He apparently designed and sculpted the king cake baby, which was inspired by the plastic baby in traditional king cakes.
Uh-huh. This baby has teeth, and so that's already a problem based on what we said earlier today.
Yep.
But also, it breaks a cardinal rule where you shouldn't really have human mascots, like too human. I know they have human-esque mascots, but if it's too human, that's just, I question it even if that's a baby, but, it's horrible.
The worst part about this is I can't zoom out any further for the king cake baby image. I need you to see its diaper.
I don't want to see. Why would I want to see its diaper?
I just think it's important. There you go.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's very bad.
Apparently getting the piece with the baby is good luck if you get that donut pastry. If you don't accidentally swallow it.
Yeah.
But if you go to a New Orleans Pelicans home game during Mardi Gras, you might choke on your food when you see this baby abomination. And now we are on our final mascot of today. We couldn't talk about weird and creepy sports team mascots without including the nightmare fuel that apparently is the Philadelphia Flyers mascot, Gritty.
More than this? Oh, that's not so bad.
I don't think it's so bad either.
This one is considered more creepy than the other one?
According to our lead researcher, yes. I don't know why. I think they had nightmares about it as a kid or something. I don't know. I think the reason for it has less to do with the way it looks and more to do with the fact that it was killed off and it clawed its way back to life in 2018 as the mascot for the NHL team, which didn't have a mascot prior to Gritty haunting the team in her nightmares. Lore is he emerged to wreak havoc after the construction of the Wells Fargo Center, disturbing his secret hideout, so he has lore to him. And if Gritty wasn't cursed enough, apparently he launched an OnlyFans on April 15th this year. That belly button's creeping me out.
That belly button I didn't need to know existed, but again, not that bad, all things considered. The OnlyFans, very weird, but again, I don't really think it's that creepy.
Also, I want to point out another weird thing. If you look at Gritty, you see how he's got this weird, like, upside down light bulb kind of shape to him.
Sure, yeah. A pear, some might say.
Yeah, that would make sense. Pear shape. This has become a more common trend in mascots. I think part of the reason is it probably helps with cooling systems or different things inside the mascot. But it also makes it so that they can do this all kinds of like humping motions. And there's a mascot. The Reds have 4 mascots.
I knew that. Yeah.
Gapper is weird as hell.
Gapper?
You know about Gapper?
Which one's Gapper?
Gapper is the red one.
They're all.
No, they're not.
Oh, they're wearing red.
Gapper came about with the new Great American Ballpark Stadium.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because they have 4 because you have Mr. Redlegs, Rosie Red, and then what are the mascots? What's the other one? Because you have Mr. Redlegs, you have Rosie Red, and the other boy one. Oh, he's Mr. Red. That's right. You have Mr. Redlegs, which is mustache, Mr. Red, who's no mustache, Rosie Red, and Gapper. Because Mr. Redlegs came about as honoring the past of the Reds being called the Redlegs. Mr. Red is modern day. Rosie Red was to have female representation, especially when there was the female team during World War II, which we'll talk about in the next episode. And then Gapper was made to be the kids because of the gap in the new stadium in Great American Ballpark. Yeah, it's where that big deck for food is in right field. It's a gap towards the river.
I've never been.
Dang. But that's going to do it for all of your creepy mascots and craziness that exists. But mascots will go around throughout the game. They'll shoot like t-shirt cannons to give people stuff. They'll go and explore, and they have like meet and greets and signings and stuff too, like they were a player.
That's very informative.
They'll get bobbleheads, all kinds of different stuff.
That's very nice.
And sometimes the mascots make absolutely 0 sense.
Well, they're not paid very well. I assume many things in these sports aren't.
Yeah, people in sports don't get paid. What do you mean?
Definitely the mascots don't.
But that's going to do it. I implore you, audience, to come up with a mascot for GMFST. Please don't make it creepy. Please don't make it weird. But I'm actually curious what they would consider as a mascot for Go My Third Space.
Go My Favorite Phallus. It's a big penis.
Go My Phallus.
You know when that comic that I quoted way back when, where it's like, "Oh, hey Mickey, why do you wear those gloves?" Oh. I'll show you, Donald. Or Daffy.
Oh yeah.
Then the shadow just fingertips over. Anyway, so because we got the finger, right? So it's got to be something with the finger. I'm just saying, maybe take the finger off and just.
Yeah, no, you're giving them too many. You're leading them. I want them to be creative.
All right.
Let them come up with it.
Okay.
Do all of that on the Reddit, reddit.com/r/GMFST. And if you want to get yourself some merch of what's still available, which I haven't looked at in a while, store.gmfst.com. Hopefully we'll have updated stuff and things changing soon. That's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Any last words or remarks about mascots?
I'm hungry.
All right, bye.